Okay, what the hell just happened? So, the doctor is talking about time and how he experiences time and not really because he's a hologram and he's been alive forever, blah, 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 blah. Now, I had a theory that I posted in a Facebook group about why Sam is glitching. And a bunch of people were laughing at me that, oh, Sam's glitching has been dealt with. No. No, it did not. And someone suggested that the doctor would die to save Sam. So, with that in mind, I really thought that the doctor was going to die this episode because he seemed to be the hologram equivalent of accepting his own mortality. It was very, very somber, very bizarre. So, so I really thought, okay, he's going to die. Because unlike those people who are so convinced that Sam wasn't glitching anymore, even though she wasn't constantly glitching before she went to the hollow spa, still, apparently she's gone to plenty of hollow spas, yet last week it was her first one, but they're starting a new class. So either it's one of those classes that are only half a semester, or the timeline just does not add up at all. But anyway, so everybody has this new class, and it's theater with Tilly. Now, I'm sorry, I didn't get through all the seasons of Discovery. I didn't even get to the one where she left ostensibly to become a teacher at the Starfleet Academy, and she's a traveling teacher. It's very bizarre. So maybe they have more than one campus? What's going on? But anyway, so she's teaching them theater, but Ake wants her to basically turn it into a trauma recovery class, but disguise it as theater. Now, my question is, when did Tilly become so into theater? I mean, she's always been out there, but I do not recall her being into theater. What am I missing? But anyway, Terima is back, and it apparently Ake and Kelric discussed it and decided that she would be better off at Starfleet Academy. Now, I knew that she was eventually going to have to move over, but this was the dumbest reason they could come up with. I mean, why not come up with something like the War College had to be shut down for some reason? I mean, after all, we had the prank war, and so they made things difficult with the dorms at the War College. Then there was Chancellor Amal, which everyone was like, well, at least Ake was wondering, wait, why is she contacting you? They don't do that. So they had all sorts of ways of either temporarily or permanently shutting down the War College. Some reason to bring her over. And possibly Kyle. But they picked that they decided because she got injured, because she knew how to use her powers. This made no sense to me. It was nothing about being at the war college that caused her to go into a coma. It was her knowing about her powers, because all they knew was that she was going to connect with Caleb, but not that she could. I mean, she did mention that she actually was the cause of her father's deafness, but nobody knew she was going to do that. Nobody asked her to. Nobody at the war college, certainly. So, why is she being punished by being switched over to Starfleet Academy? Especially since she did not like that. She wanted to stay at the war college. As she said, she was making friends there. I mean, like I said, it's one thing if the war college ceased to exist for whatever reason. But just because the two chancellors got together and decided she'd be better off there, I guess because emotions. I mean, I honestly do not understand this. And she's being a total bitch to Caleb. I mean, I get it that. I mean, I don't even know. Why is everyone staring at her like she's got two heads or something? Which, this is Star Trek. They probably have seen that. So, why are they staring at her like that? I mean, it's not like she did anything wrong. She saved everybody. Everybody should be hailing her as a hero instead of, looking at her like she's some sort of a freak. Or that you're afraid to talk to her because she might kill you. I mean, it was just bizarre. So she has it pegged that Tilly is coming up with this play, which I'm not sure. I'm confused. Did Sam come up with that play or did Tilly? But she had it pegged early on that this is trauma. This is counseling in the guise of theater. Now, obviously she was there for just the one episode, which, again, I thought this series was created specifically because Tilly left Discovery to become a teacher at Starfleet Academy, and we've seen her once. But anyway, so but Sam wasn't a part of it, which, I mean, she probably would have gotten the most out of it, not because she needed it so much, but that because she is trying to learn about organics. So it would have been interesting to be part of this discussion. If not a participant, at least to listen in. But no, she was glitching. And now I didn't watch all of Voyager either. So I missed it that the Doctor had a daughter. And so that's why he tried to keep his distance from Sam, because the memory of his daughter is still too painful. So, okay, fair. Apparently that's why Ake, even though she lost her son, 150 years ago? She's still, I assume whomever the father is was probably long dead because, she's half Lanathite, so I think that's how you pronounce it. So it's possible that she married someone who doesn't live as long as she does. I mean, we don't even know, was this person human? Was he a different species? Actually, we don't even know if who she married was a he. But anyway, They quickly got rid of Jaden, which I'm not sure why. I guess because he's in already in contact with his emotions, because they just said he has a cold, okay, quarantine yourself until it passes. And then we never see him again until the very end when everybody's worried about Sam. So yeah, I'm like, what's going on here? So, so it's decided, Ake decided that she is going to be going with the doctor and Sam to Cask to figure out what is glitching about her. And so they go there, and at first Sam was uneasy about it. Not as nearly as uneasy as the doctor. He seemed really, really uptight about it. I'm thinking, okay, are they going to kill him off? I mean, what, or is he going to end up staying on Cask? Are they going to do something to him? Why is he so upset? Well, it turns out he's thinking about his daughter. Now, again, I didn't watch all of Voyager, so I don't know if this happened in Voyager, if this happened between that, and I know he made an appearance on Lower Decks. I have no idea if this is just added backstory that we're not privy to. I mean, he's been alive 900 years, so. So, I'm sorry, did I just see Ake wearing shoes when she was on the ship going to Cask? Or was it just the way the shadows played on her legs? Because it certainly looked like she was wearing shoes. And my question is, I mean, did she say something about the planet that made her think that she needed to be wearing shoes? Because we learned last episode that she can wear shoes if she needs to. Hence, I know that the joke was that women overpack, but still, why bring boots if you literally never wear shoes? So, I guess it's a continuation. But anyway, so I guess because Tarima is... Oh yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to mention. Why wasn't Chancellor Kelrick there? To explain himself, not just Ake explaining it. And being very almost like on eggshells. Like she's afraid of what Tarima is going to do. So she's, really explaining it like, oh, please understand. Like, she thinks that Tarima is going to kill her. It's just doesn't do anything to help Tarima cope with what happened. So anyway, back to Ake, Sam, and the doctor. So the doctor's acting very weird throughout this whole thing, and again, I'm expecting him to not survive. So she's got, going emotional, full throttle, and the doctor's like, please don't. And I know he can be cantankerous, but he was in rare form. Turns out it's because of his daughter. So, turns out that whatever is ailing Sam, even the makers can't save her. So they're going to decommission her. And I'm like, no! Not just because she's a main character, but because I like Sam. And, so Ake came up with, well, both Ake and the doctor realized that, wait a minute, she has no conduit to deal with emotions. She's learning about all these emotions. She has all these neurons that are forming, which is why they can't do anything, because she's not the creation that they made. She's beyond that. So it's decided that they have to give her a childhood. Ake decides they need to give her a childhood, and because the doctor explained to Sam that, he had a daughter, she died, it was very painful, and so now he, tries, that's why he kept her at bay, because she reminded him of that. So Ake came up with this idea that the doctor is going to parent Sam. So she'll have a childhood, um she'll know how to process all these emotions that she has developed, that she, and these, because she's made all these friends and all this and that. She said she wants to fall in love, so I'm wondering if this is also a foreshadowing to her having a relationship. Now, we have the options of Darum, we have the option of Genesis, and we have the option of Occam. I mean, since they seem to have dropped the character of, I don't know if that she was a Cardassian at the War College, since they seem to have completely dropped her, even before they killed off Bobby, I'm going to say she's not an option anymore. So now that she's fixed, because she went through a childhood, so I'm going to say that maybe by the end of the season, or maybe next season, because there will be a season 2, she will fall in love with someone. Like I said, those are she has 3 options, and I'm leaning towards Occam. But it could also be Genesis. I mean, right now they seemingly are best friends, but things happen. So those are my 2 front runners. Occam, because of the way they greet each other, the closeness that they have there, or Genesis. Because Darum, I mean, they're friends, but it's more of an arm's length type thing. They're not as close. So, back to the theater group. So, Jaden doesn't show up again until the very end, when everybody's worried about Sam. But anyway, Tarima, like I said, has this whole thing pegged about what's happening. And Occam's like, I'm tired of pretending I'm okay. So at least he's like, yeah, I know that this is supposed to be a conduit to process our traumas, but I'm okay with that. Tarima, however, is not, because she wants to go back to the War College. Which, fair, but this is probably why Ake and Kelrick wanted her at the academy, because they would have a better way of getting her to process her trauma. But again, there have been exercises where they've worked together, so it's not completely unheard of that just for this one class that they ship her off to Starfleet Academy, but whatever. And but it was fun to see Tilly with Reno. I mean, that seemed like, yeah, this is right. We needed more of that. We needed more of their interaction. It's so fun. So So Tilly uses this play where to get people to open up emotionally. And Sam was supposed to play Emily until she started glitching big time, and Sam then decided that Tarima should play Emily. Why? Because she's not an idiot. She knows that that would mean that she would have to do a marriage scene with Caleb. And so then they would have to deal with each other. So Tarima sends a message to Caleb, and she's drunk as can be. And I applauded Caleb that she wanted to get busy, and Caleb's like, nope, you're drunk. So I'm like, okay, good. He at least has morals, he has standards. He's not going to do something that would feel like, that not about necessarily about consent, but just that he wouldn't know if this is Tarima or the booze. Let's not worry about it. Let's just. Of course, Tarima got pissed, but. And then, she basically told Caleb that she knows that he's into Genesis. And actually, that's why she got upset. Because she assumed that he didn't want to be with her. Not because she was drunk, which is the right answer, but because he's into Genesis. And she calls him Academy Boy. It's like, since you've known him, he's been with the Academy. What? So, she even told Genesis, oh, this is why Caleb likes you. And it's like, we're just friends. So, and I'm wondering, where did she get the idea that Caleb was into Genesis? Forgetting that she's a Betazoid, so of course she's an empath, so of course she knows. Which makes me wonder if they're going to break up and he is going to get together with Genesis. Because that's always a possibility. I really, really, really hope that this doesn't turn into 90210, where basically the entire cast, everyone dated everyone at some point in the series. I really hope it doesn't come to that, but so she and I mean, she and Genesis had a sweet moment. Then at the very end, they were all sitting around talking about their concern about Sam, and we haven't heard anything. We don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. And out of nowhere, Occam starts reading the play. Reciting the play, because at this point, they all have their lines down. Including Jaden for some reason. And he wasn't there for any of it. So I don't know, while he was, dealing with his cold, he was reading the play so he knew what to do. I don't know. So they were going over the play, everything was great, and then Tarima came in, and I don't know if she was saying her lines, and she kind of took over the Emily role from Genesis, yanked it away. But anyway, Reno and Tilly were watching them from above. And, she was praising Tilly. Like I said, I love those two together. The fact that we're not going to see them at all anymore sucks. Well, she did say that she normally does this for third year, so maybe we'll see her again, because this was a one-off. So maybe we'll see her for a full course, provided there is a season 3. Let's see what else. Oh, yes. And of course, I loved Reno playing the captain in their simulation, which is what I expected this show to be more of. These simulations of them trying to deal with something, whatever the mission is. And Reno's like, congratulations, you showed no teamwork. I mean, she's just awesome. I love her so much. Let's see, what else did I want to mention about this episode? The last I saw, I did not see what the next episode is. I didn't even see a description. So I have no idea what's supposed to happen next episode, but we have 2 episodes left. So we still have to finish off with Braca. Now, whether he's going to be the big bad throughout the course of the show, throughout the series, like Q was, or that there was an overarching villain throughout the series. But we have to at least find Caleb's mother, even if she tells him off, because the last he saw, she told him not to trust Starfleet. And since he's a main character, I'm going to say that he doesn't leave Starfleet. So maybe he finds out his mom isn't the person he remembered. So maybe that they find her and he's like, nope. And they go their separate ways. Or maybe she'll become another character, a recurring character or something. Let's see what else. I do know that Kelrick does show up in season 2 because I saw an Instagram reel from the actor, mentioning that when they had started filming season 2, so we know he's going to be in it again. Ake mentioned how, just like the Doctor, she's, basically afraid to open up again because of, I assume, what happened to her son. Again, no mention of a father. We don't know if she was married to a man, married to a woman. We know nothing. Whether she was even married or, what the situation was. So is that going to open her up to a romance? Maybe, if not starting these next couple of episodes next season, because she's said it out loud that she's keeping people at bay as well because of the hurt she feels. And it did occur to me when Braca was rubbing it into her face about her son, it did look like it was getting to her. I mean, she handled it well, but it did look like it was getting to her. So who knows where that's going to lead. I'm glad that Sam was what he needed to become whole. That this raising Sam, which for Earth time it was like 2 weeks, but he stayed with her for 17 years. He raised her so she would have a conduit for her emotions, as opposed to, I have these emotions that developed upon meeting organics, but I can't deal with them because I have no context. So I'm glad they were able to save Sam, and the Doctor is just fine. Now the question becomes, now he's totally into opera. He was trying to convince her to be into opera. So is she going to suddenly have a love of opera that she didn't before? Or is there going to be some other things that the Doctor tends to do, some other idiosyncrasies that she's going to pick up as well? Because, like the makers mentioned, she's going to have 2 sets of memories. So, at least I'm glad she had 2 sets of memories, because to have her come back and everybody would be like, oh, it's so good to have you back. And she'll be like, who the hell are you? So, I'm glad they didn't go that route. Oh yeah, one more thing. When Darren was talking about the wedding and why they suddenly didn't want to get married, it sounded very, very much like he was still processing what happened. What was it, last week? When he was kidnapped because he was supposed to marry, and he ended up not marrying because they just weren't right for each other. Because, she had a duty to her planet and he wanted to stay with Starfleet. And it's odd because I thought that the idea was he wanted to become a Starfleet captain. That was just something that everyone knew about. And suddenly we get the, oh no, you're supposed to get married and, rule your people. When did that happen? Okay. So yeah, that was basically him processing that. Let's see if there's anything else. I think I've covered everything I wanted to this episode. So I will see you for the next episode, and my next video review is going to be Matlock is back. So that's going to be my next episode review. And then next week it's gonna get busy because there's Matlock, and Daredevil starts. So I'm going to be busy on the review front. So it might be that I'm not going to get everything done on the day I should or the day after the episode airs for that reason. My excuse last week was the Olympics, but yeah, next week it's going to be a lot because we still have 2 episodes of this show. Matlock started tonight, so I will hopefully do a review tomorrow night. And then next week starts Daredevil. So there's going to be a lot of reviews from me. So with that, I will see you guys in the next video.